Welcome to the Explainer, everyone. We are jumping right in today because we're about to completely transform how you interact with AI. Look, if you've ever felt like your AI is, incredibly smart but also totally unpredictable, yeah, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we are cracking open the concept of system prompts, specifically how to give Claude a rock-solid, concrete identity. And hey, notice the bold red theme we're using today. Keep that in the back of your mind. It's a visual cue for the hard, absolute boundaries we're going to learn how to draw for our AI.
Seriously, it's the ultimate frustration, isn't it? You type the exact same requests on a Tuesday that you did on a Monday, but you get wildly different results. Like Monday, the AI gives you this perfect, snappy summary. But Tuesday, boom, you get a rambling, dense academic essay. So why exactly does this happen? Well, the simple answer is that without the right guardrails in place, the AI is essentially just guessing. It's guessing what persona it should adopt every single time you hit enter.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll hit the inconsistency problem, then the handbook analogy, next the 5 core components, followed by 4 powerful use cases. We'll wrap up with common design mistakes and a really practical agency example. By the end of this, we're going to turn that unpredictable chat box into a highly customized, ultra-reliable digital employee.
All right, Section 1, the inconsistency problem and the hidden lever. Let's get right into what's actually driving the AI behind the scenes.
That hidden lever we just mentioned, that is your system prompt. Basically, a system prompt is a set of hidden instructions passed right through the system parameter, and it runs before you even type the word hello. It's all processing quietly in the background. If you're looking around the Claude interface, you'll usually spot this under custom instructions or tucked into your project settings. Now, you won't actually see this text during your day-to-day chatting, but trust me, it's there. It is the ultimate unseen framework shaping literally every single word the AI generates for you.
Moving on to Section 2, the Employee Handbook Analogy. To make this whole setup click, we're going to use a really simple mental model.
Think about it like this. An AI without a system prompt is exactly like a super talented new hire who shows up on day 1 but was never given an orientation, or a company handbook. I love this analogy because it just perfectly captures the problem. Claude is amazingly capable right out of the box, right? But without that handbook, it's flying blind. It's operating with zero boundaries, absolutely no company context, and no clue about your specific communication style. So yeah, it's got the talent, but it is completely unguided.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 5 core components. Let's actually break down the exact anatomy of a perfect AI handbook.
Okay, there are 5 interlocking pieces you have to define if you want total, absolute control over your AI's output. We've got identity, audience, tone and rules, constraints, and finally output format. Let's dive into how each of these acts as a crucial building block for your new digital employee. First up, identity. Just look at the difference here. Giving a weak identity, like saying, "You are a helpful assistant." Honestly, it's practically useless. It doesn't shape the AI's behavior at all. But look at this strong identity. You are a B2B SaaS senior customer success expert specializing in onboarding optimization and churn management with 5 years experience in finance and logistics. Wow, right? That hyper-specific framing radically deepens the AI's response architecture. It immediately forces Claude to look through a highly specialized expert lens before it answers a single question.
Step 2 is your audience. You absolutely have to specify exactly who the AI is talking to. Let's say you tell Claude its audience is mid-level marketing professionals who do not want to write code. By doing that, you instantly fix the AI's vocabulary. It knows not to throw highly technical developer jargon at you, but it also knows not to speak down to you like a total beginner. Defining the audience is the absolute secret to perfectly calibrating the depth of the explanation.
All right, step 3, tone and rules. Now, the absolute key here is that you cannot leave tone abstract. Telling the AI to be polite, that's basically Claude's default state anyway. You need strict, concrete rules. You got to tell it things like direct and professional, no unnecessary fluff. Do not use compliments like great question. Give it hard physical boundaries like maximum 3 paragraphs per response. These aren't just suggestions. These concrete rules actually dictate the physical output that shows up on your screen.
Which brings us to Step 4, constraints. Remember those hard red boundaries we talked about earlier? This is where you define exactly what the AI must not do. Because listen, unwritten boundaries, they will absolutely be tested by the AI. So if you're building a customer-facing tool, you have to be explicit. Say, no comparator comparisons, or do not provide pricing info. Better yet, tell Claude that if it doesn't know the answer, it needs to explicitly escalate the situation, rather than just creatively making something up. And the final puzzle piece, step 5, is the output format. This is all about structural consistency. If you lock in a template, say demanding that every response has to start with a summary sentence, followed by detailed bullet points and ending with a proposed next step, you are guaranteeing that you get that exact same structure back every single time, and that works completely regardless of the topic you're actually asking about. It's a real game changer.
All right, section 4, 4 powerful use cases. Now that we've got the theory down, let's talk about the incredible ROI you get when these 5 components actually hit the real world.
Once you dial in those system prompts, you essentially transform Claude into highly specialized tools for totally different business needs. First, brand voice consistency. Imagine no matter which employee is chatting with the AI, the output always sounds perfectly aligned with your company's tone. Next, you can set up a deep expert advisor mode for heavy legal or technical queries. Or you could build super safe customer-facing chatbots with a strictly limited scope. And finally, my personal favorite, automating repeating workflows. This guarantees those weekly reports or content summaries come out formatted perfectly every single time.
Moving to Section 5, Common System Prompt Mistakes. I want to be your guide here and quickly warn you about the fatal errors people almost always make when they build their very first prompts.
So, the most common trap is making the prompt too short, which just leaves the AI with zero context. Another big one? Using these fluffy, abstract value statements like value innovation instead of laying down hard, actionable rules. And definitely watch out for contradictory instructions. That's just going to scramble the AI's brain. But honestly, the absolute biggest mistake is the set it and forget it mentality. Never updating the document once it's written, that completely ruins the long-term effectiveness of your digital employee.
So you might be wondering, what's the ideal length then? Generally, 100 to 200 words is the sweet spot. You absolutely do not need some massive, sprawling 10-page document. You just need a precise one. Keeping it concise makes the AI follow instructions way better. Plus, and here's a fun fact, because system prompts are passed behind the scenes with every single API call, keeping it brief actually saves you cold hard cash on API token costs.
Okay, Section 6, Practical Content Agency Example. Let's bring all this theory together into one final, highly actionable example.
When you get these 5 components to perfectly interlock, they create a totally bulletproof framework. Let's look at a real-world agency setting. For identity, we plug in Senior Content Strategist. The audience, B2B tech clients. The tone is authoritative, no jargon. The hard constraint, that red boundary, is never guarantee SEO rankings. And finally, the format is bullet points with headers. You can see how clearly this spells out the digital employee's job, right? There is literally zero room left for the AI to guess.
But, and this is absolutely crucial to remember, system prompts are living documents. Great system prompts usually require, I'd say, 5 to 10 revisions based on real-world observation. Prompt engineering is super iterative. You really have to launch your prompt, watch closely to see where the AI goes off track or maybe misunderstands you, and then actually go back and revise that handbook.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. Since we know system prompts are living documents, I've got to ask you, when was the last time you reviewed your AI's handbook? If it's been a while, or honestly, if you've never done it, take some action on this today. A really great rule of thumb is to review and refine those guidelines every 3 months. Because by actively managing your system prompts, you aren't just casually chatting with an AI anymore. You are directing a highly capable digital employee. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.